Talking to Frank Darris of Darris Law Firm.
Well, let's talk first about the NFL because we got the spotlight on it. You know, if you don't play 3 seasons, you don't qualify for retirement medical insurance. So first they've got to get 3 seasons under their belt, and then they've only got health insurance after retirement for 5 years. And the latest studies show us, Jack, that 1 in 4 of those retirees is going to need a joint replacement. They suffer arthritis at 5 times the rate of their peers, and they're 4 times as likely to get Alzheimer's or ALS. So the focus has to be on enhancing and broadening the health insurance. And secondly, I try and educate not only players, but agents and team owners about making sure that their key players and their 53 men on their roster and the practice squad, that those guys are aware that there's cheap individual disability insurance out there that can protect them from sickness or injury, whether they're playing or they're not playing. And these, Jack, are occupation-specific policies. So if they can't play professional football, but they could be a TV announcer or a high school coach, they're going to get paid. And those are the type of policies that are out there that none of them, a few of them, a scant few, are aware of.
The NFL's Disability Board has a denial rate of 60% when it comes to disability cases brought before it. And we're talking about problems with cognitive impairment, behavioral, emotional disorders, arousal disorders, meaning sleep impairment, ACL injuries that go on and on and on.
It is a sad state of affairs as we watch, player after player either get poor representation, not get the right care, doesn't have the correct documentation, or doesn't have the stamina or the legal firepower to be able to compete with. Remember, the NFL this year is looking at $1 billion contract just for TV. Now, they have the best lawyers on the planet, and you'd think they'd take care of their own. It is an uphill swim. They beat them up. They try and starve them out, and it is a very, very difficult piece of litigation.
And we all know that there's a number of workmen's compensation lawyers out there that are on the other side of you that are trying to do just the opposite, to limit all of those types of benefits. And Frank, we're talking about education. We're talking about people insuring themselves. We're talking about getting the word out that disability insurance is critical for these competitors.
And for our college players, it is so critical that the NCAA wakes up to what is happening on this concussion issue. There isn't a comprehensive policy that covers the 1,200 Division I schools out there for concussions, and there needs to be. And that's why we've now got the NCAA lawsuit that was filed a couple of weeks ago. And that suit, interestingly, those are kids, some of them under the age of 18, that signed on to play college football and are at the mercy of the university in terms of a policy or a procedure or a guideline in terms of concussions. And look, schools are doing a great job, a much better job than they did 5 years ago, but these are young people. And this lawsuit could have far more reaching effects than the NFL because we owe a greater duty of care to those that are younger. And the NCAA players don't have a union. There's nobody out there negotiating to protect them. So this NCAA lawsuit, it may very well dwarf the NFL settlement.
That's really interesting, Frank. And of course, being that you're America's top insurance attorney at Darris Law, the largest, as I say, disability and long-term care insurance litigation firm in the country, are you involved in this?
We're all around it. We're touching it from every angle that you can imagine. Representation, consultation, assisting, facilitating. And, one of the things that we do that's a little different than other firms, I like to give free advice. I like to give free policy analysis. I like to give free help. I do because I've done this for 25 years. I've got a quarter of a century helping the sick and the disabled, and it's no different whether they're rich or poor. Trust me, Jack, there's nothing pretty about a 350-pound former NFL player sitting across my desk weeping about his inability to put food on the table for a family, or his inability to get the proper medical care just so he can walk from his car to the grocery store. And that is the haunting images that we're trying to fix and we're trying to correct, and most of all, we're trying to educate and prevent.